and Twitter. Tonight we are extremely pleased to have with us Alejandra Bunster Elsesser and Blanchette and the costume design gala at Vizcaya. But to introduce her, we have her friend and colleague, a very important guest, a very special guest, Paula Consuegra. She's the director of the Montessori and Primary School at Carrollton School of the Sacred Heart.
Thank you very much. Really, it's my honor and my pleasure to introduce my friend Alejandra. Alejandra is a theater director and an educator who graduated from La Sorbonne in Paris, France, where she lived for many years and fell in love with theater and history. Those studies and her love for traveling, for nature, and the cultures of the world have taken her across all the continents except Antarctica. But I know, knowing Alejandra, she'll make it there as well. And she worked in many of these different continents. She is the author of Un Taller de Teatro, commissioned and pioneered by the Chilean Ministry of Education to add creative expression to the school curriculum. She worked in the theater department at the New World School of the Arts and presently works at Carrollton School of the Sacred Heart, developing creativity in education and teaching creative expression. She resides with her family here in Miami. Alejandra was born in Chile. She holds 3 nationalities through her parents, Chilean, Swiss, and French. The implementation of the creative expression in Chile was indeed pioneered because this was more than over 30 years ago that Alejandra started this work. She loves working with children, with adults, with people of all ages. She's been working at Carrollton for the last 10 years, where I have had the honor and the privilege of working side by side with her. I've seen firsthand the gift that Alejandra has in working with children and with our teachers and all of her colleagues. She gives talks about creativity in several conferences, and really it's a contagious and palpable feeling to listen to her speak and to hear about her stories of and all the experiences that she has had. Blanchette has become a personal favorite of ours. It sits on the shelf of all of our classrooms, so I know that you will enjoy thoroughly not just her book, but listening to her speak. So, Alejandra.
Well, thank you so much, Paola, for such a beautiful introduction. And thank you so much, all of you, for coming tonight. I was thinking about when today, and I said gratitude, right? We have to start by giving thanks. Give thanks to Mitchell Kaplan, who generously opened the doors for the launching of this book today. He loved the concept. Blanchette and the Costume Design Gala at Vizcaya is the first one of a series, and all the stories happen in historical places in Miami. So I thought it was a whimsical way of introducing content and also at the same time an invitation to creativity. So I want to thank Carrie Schneider, who came tonight. She's the graphic designer. I am the illustrator, but she patiently worked with me on the graphic design. I want to thank so many of you. My family, I know it's I'm not receiving an Oscar tonight, but my family, because without them, for instance, Paula was the editor, and so on. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful story to be able to work with people in your family. English is my 3rd language, so I need some help. And so many people here I want to thank. Anyway, let's start with the presentation. So Blanchette, this is Blanchette. And what I love that Mitch said is that these books are universal. So they're not only for children. The idea started long time ago when I used to work at the New World School of the Arts as the acting teacher for seniors in college. And I asked them if they knew the lighthouse in Key Biscayne, and they didn't. And I asked them if they knew which one is the oldest building in Miami, and they didn't know. and it's the lighthouse. So it started by there, by Miami's history. I love history, and then I realized they didn't know. Yeah, the majority knows Vizcaya because they go on field trips to Vizcaya, but then the Deering Estate Park, that one no, they don't know they were brothers, the Deering brothers, and so on, the water tower in Coral Gables, the Merrick family, and so on. So this is a way, as I said, also for the mother who is reading the book to a child, learning about Miami in a fun way. So the books have a story, then they have historical facts, but interesting and fun, and then they all come with creative expression games. So this is what you're going to see tonight. So if, thank you. So I think I have a volunteer that would read the book out loud, and then so we can, right? So yeah, I think it's more interesting when someone reads. So let's go.
Wait, should I be mic'd for the internet?
Yes, go ahead.
This is Blanchette. She was born in the Everglades. Blanchette is a snowy egret. I'd like to digress. My mother also created all the collages, so they're all original works of art. She lives in the Cape Florida lighthouse. She's a costume designer and a collage artist. Blanchette loves French and flowers. She collects postage stamps and postcards from all over the world. She includes the stamps she collects in her artwork. Their colors, images, and designs inspire her. Each stamp has a meaning for her. They remind her of places she has visited or of people she loves. Her best friend is Mimi. Mimi is a cloudless sulfur yellow butterfly. She lives in a botanical garden. She is also an artist. She collects shells and makes works of art with them. They both love to fly around the majestic Everglades, where they feel protected and inspired by nature. This is Arrow, a beautiful ruby-throated hummingbird. He is a post bird who delivers only postcards, love letters, invitations, and good news. He is a friend to all butterflies and fairies. Arrow lives in the Ochope Post Office, the smallest post office in all the United States. It makes sense. Hummingbirds are the smallest of birds. He brings an invitation to Blanchette. The invitation is for the annual Costume Design Gala at Vizcaya Museum and Gardens. Mimi and Blanchette participate every year. This year, the theme is Inspired by Nature. Mimi designs different dresses for Blanchette. This one is a design inspired by Florida's state flower, the orange blossom. The blossom of the orange tree is one of the most fragrant flowers in Florida. Inspired by plants. Inspired by white flowers, almost like a wedding dress. Blanchette loves them all, but she wants to wear something absolutely unique and spectacular. So, Mimi, who has a vivid imagination, has an idea. She tells Blanchette to trust her, to fly to Vizcaya and wait for her in the gardens. Blanchette agrees. On a cloudy day, Mimi flies to Vizcaya with hundreds of other butterflies. Blanchette waits patiently for Mimi in the gardens of Vizcaya. Suddenly, hundreds of butterflies flutter their wings around her body, forming the most stunning and beautiful and magical dress. The dress is alive and in constant movement. Because the butterflies tickle her with their wings, Blanchette smiles and laughs all night long. Everyone is amazed and pleased. Blanchette presents her dress to the honorable grand jury. They love the dress and grant Mimi the first prize. Blanchette and Mr. Green, a barred owl, member of the grand jury, dance all night long, fall in love, and end up having tea in the Chinese pagoda. But that is another story.
So it is beautiful to see how children react to the story. Carlton School of the Sacred Heart, Paola Consuegra, who introduced me, she was gracious enough to get the book for all the second graders in the school. The idea is to bring it to the schools, to all the schools. My dream is to all the public schools. And each child has the book. That's why it's designed simple. And the alphabet that you will find at the end, you're supposed to cut it and create your own card game. So there's little scissors there that show you that you can cut it and that you can create your own. So it is so beautiful to see the children so excited. So at Carlton, at least, we created a pocket, and the deck, each one has their own. So here comes the facts, the educational facts, which I will skip. So when you get the book, you can read them on your own. But all the facts are very interesting. And sometimes I walk in Carlton and the children scream to me, "Mrs. Bunster, I saw Blanchette this weekend in the beach." And I go, "Really?" So and then they said, some of them live in Coral Gables. "I me too." And I said, "Are you sure it was a snow egret or was it an ibis?" Right? Because the ibis, that's another story. So we have the butterflies, and then, if you know how to say butterfly in another language, the hummingbirds, which are so amazing, but what they do and their heartbeat, the lighthouse, which is the oldest building in Miami, and I can assure you that you didn't know that it was the oldest building in. Raise your hand if you knew that it was the oldest building in Miami. Let me see how many hands. 1, 2, 3. All right, 4. All right. You live in Key Biscayne. So you too. So, all right, the Fershal Tropical Garden, which Mimi lives in, the Botanical Garden, and that is another story. The story in the Botanical Garden is a theater festival. And Vizcaya. And then we have the Ochopi post office, which is indeed the smallest in the United States, it's true. And here comes the game. So the game is like this. And when I work with the students, I've worked all ages. I have worked with children, with junior high, where I work, high school, college, the same game, adults at home. So it doesn't matter the age. So this is by association. By association. So people say, how can you teach creativity or creative the creative process? Of course, you cannot teach the creative process or creativity, but you can exercise your imagination. That, yes, it is like running the marathon. If I want to run the marathon today, it is obvious that I have to start to get in shape, but I can walk, and then I can run, and then I can run a little more, and then one day I can go to Key Biscayne and come back. The same thing with imagination. So some people are born with a vivid imagination. Some people are born with an artistic ability. That is something else. Because I think it's changing the concept, but years ago people would think that you were creative because you were an artist. It was like together, right? Oh, she's so creative, she's so crazy, she dances on top of the tables, and she's very creative, she's crazy, she's an artist. But creativity, we're all creative, because we all have imagination, right? So the game is like this: A for art, and B, so we created together this one, B with Blanchette, and then C for colors, and D for design, E for the Everglades, F for frangipani. So there are some words that the student they can learn. And where is it originally from? Mexico. And then garden, hummingbird, invitation, January, Key Biscayne. We have lighthouse, Mimi, pagoda, needlepoint, I went too far, ocean, sorry, quintet, which is a new word that they love to learn. I'm going too fast, I'm sorry, rain, stamps, tea, umbrella, Vizcaya, watercolor, xylophone, and yellow. So this is by association intelligence. We have divergent, which is coming up with many ideas with the same. And then we have by association, where we associate 3, 4 things together and we come up with a story. So may I have a volunteer? So this is a game that we play every single time. So if you can, we're live. So 3 cards. So if you can read it to the audience.
I got ocean,
Ocean,
colors, and Vizcaya.
so you repeat again. Ocean, colors, Vizcaya, again.
Ocean, colors, Vizcaya.
Tell us a story. Go. Once upon a time. Go.
I feel like I was tricked.
Vizcaya, ocean, colors.
Okay, so once upon a time, there was a ball to be had at Vizcaya, and the beautiful mermaid wanted to go, who lived in the ocean, wanted to go to the ball, but she couldn't breathe out of the ocean. So she didn't know how she could attend the ball. So she swam up to the water's edge, and she asked the colorful parrot whether there was any way that the parrot could help her attend the ball. And the parrot said that he knew just the way. And what did he do? So he would, and he went and he got the magical princess fairy, who was able to transform the mermaid for the evening and put her in a beautiful rainbow-colored ball gown. And the princess was able to attend the ball, where she met her one true love.
Named Rafael.
Of course, he was named Raphael.
Thank you. So, to exercise creativity, you go Vizcaya, colors, and ocean, right? So, usually the the majority will go, oh, it's Vizcaya, so once upon in Vizcaya, next to the ocean, there was someone that had a lot of colors, right? Something, that's the logic. Little children go, once upon a time there was a color that was very mean and had a friend that was the ocean. So they which is so beautiful. And so I say again and again, so once upon a time in the ocean there was, and so the more you exercise this capacity, the more you become better. And that capacity of coming up with ideas verbally, it's not everybody has that to express yourself. So here comes the creative expression part. The philosophy or the belief is that we all have something to say. Some of us express it better talking. We're very good at that verbally. Some of us are not. We're more visual. Some of us are more kinesthetic. We express things that we cannot express with words, but we express them dancing, and so on, with all the arts. So that's the idea behind these games, is that each book comes with a different exercise or game, however you want to call it. So the instructions on how to, well, here is an example where I say that, sorry, that it's very important when you come up with a story, a place, a character, and then a word, right? So in here in the example, if your name was Max, say you choose the Maximilian, choose the first letters of your name, so M-A-X, Mimi, Art, and X, and tell me a story with that. Mimi, yeah, so you continue the game and so on and so on. So here I wrote a story that you also can read in the book about a xylophone and Mimi and Art. And so this is the way you can play it. You can choose the first letters of your name. You can choose the first letters of your mother's name, your father's name, and so on. And then you can act. So you can pick up the cards and act. That's children's favorite in general. They love acting. Like you get a character, group of 4, you get a character, you get a place, go, you have 15 minutes, come back, come up. But all this you are exercising. You're exercising your imagination. You can tell a story, you can express yourself visually, so you can get 3 cards and come up with a drawing. You can sing, you can dance, and you can play an instrument or compose your own music. So that's the idea behind these books. The love that I have for South Florida that was what inspired me to create these books, so people could value what we have here. It is yes, if you compare it with other countries, a very recent story, but it is. And our historical places are beautiful. And so there's another story that happens in the Barnacle and another one that happens in El Jardín. The next book happens in the Water Tower in Coral Gables, and so on. So that's the idea. And I don't know if you have any questions. I would be glad to answer. Thank you. Thank you, Sophia. Questions?
I'm going to ask you, what inspired your color palette for Blanchette?
That is a great question. If you see, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see. You see, there is a paper that repeats itself. That is from Florence. See that each card, hold on, has it somehow. You have a piece there, so that pattern repeats itself in the book. I lost it. But I love colors, and why did I create these collages like this? Because children react to, it's a way of inspiring them. So they love vivid colors, and so that's what I got inspired with. Blanchette, the next book, The Bird That Forgot How to Fly Goes to the Everglades. It's more for boys. He collects flags and maps, and so that one has another pattern, but more masculine. So that's the answer for the colors. Yes, thank you. Yes.
The ideas for each letter, did you like go through a lot of different ones, like kind of think of what would make a better story, or?
That's a good question. I tried to be as honest as I could, not to. It's a very good, because in the school we create our own alphabet, so we have several ones, and yes, you can create. I tried to keep it to the story, and I tried to keep it to Miami, to the story. So I didn't, you see, that's why I chose Vizcaya. And it was difficult to find a letter for a place, but that had to do with the story, right? So I tried to keep it in the story, the alphabet. but yes, with the students, we go through different ideas, and they love to create their own alphabets. Yeah. So I don't know. Any other questions? Yes. Yes.
What comes first, the artwork or the story?
Interesting. That's a good question. In my case, the artwork came first. For instance, that one is from I just created it. And it is from the fourth book, which is the theater festival at the theater festival at the Botanical Garden, at Ferschel Tropical Garden. So that one. And that one, it was just like that, and I could put it in the book. And then this one is from the book as well. It's Arrow and his friends, two old fairies. I didn't have the book in mind neither. And the other one is from the second book, and the one that is in the front is from another, Les Chinoiseries in the Kampong, the Balinese dance at the Kampong. So I think the collages came first. And the collages were just, I am very interested in art therapy. And because when I taught acting at the New York School of the Arts, I realized that sometimes when you teach acting, especially seniors in college, you get into certain areas that you would like to tell them, well, maybe you should see someone for that. But I couldn't. I didn't. So I became an art therapist as well. I never worked much in that area, but it is, the collages were just, they came to me. I'm not an art teacher. I'm a theater director, as I said. So it was a way to express myself. So it was funny because I've been talking about this all my life, but I never, so this was the way for me to express myself. And I love it. These are paper collages. It's not Photoshop. It takes very long to make them. And I love it. So thank you for the question. Yes?
I was going to ask you, what did you study at the Sorbonne?
I study theater. I'm a theater director, which is difficult to become a theater director in France. As you can imagine, they love to analyze everything a lot. And you have to act to become a director, which I don't like, but I had to act. So that's what I study, and history, 2 years of history. And then I decided that I wanted to work more in theater. So I did my master's in Bali in Indonesia because I was very interested in the visual part of the Balinese theater. So I think I'm an educator, and I'm studious. I would continue studying all my life. So thank you. Any other questions? No? Well, are you all from Miami? Yes? Yes.
Have the whole series.
Yes.
When is that going to happen? Soon, or it's going to take?
It takes a while to create the illustrations. I just finished the illustrations for the second book because I am a full-time person at.
Only do Blanchette.
I have Blanchette, and the second book is coming very soon, like in a month. 2 months, right, Harry? 3, right. Yes?
I'm very excited. I loved it. Okay, I absolutely loved it. It's such a lure. You know, it has this lure, like more.
Thank you.
You know,
thank you so much. It's like a never-ending fountain of inspiration. The third book happens in El Jardín. Carlton has a historical place, El Jardín, which was built in 1917, the same time as Vizcaya. And that's the story of Irene. It's a little ladybug that lives in Paris, but her dream is to come to America. So she hides in a fairy tale book addressed to the headmistress, who was working at that time, because now we have a headmaster. New headmaster, that I'm very happy to see you here tonight. And I named her Irene because that was the name of Sister Cook's mother. And so she hides in a fairy tale book addressed to the headmistress, and she lives in the Oak Library in El Jardín. No one knows, but she spies the students in the classes. And, and in the night, she creates things and collects things, and the teachers cannot find the things that Irene... And Irene loves to listen and to observe, and she goes to the Everglades very often. So that's the third book. So I wish I had more time to work on the books, because 5 stories are already finished, but the process of the publishing, which I just introduced to you, Carrie Snyder, who's a wonderful graphic designer and works at Carleton. She's the one who really spends hours creating the design, and so. But it is fascinating. So, and my dream would be to have 2, 3 books, and then corporations can give it as a present, because it's a nice way of showing what Miami is, and also inviting to work on creativity and imagination. Yes.
If you could explain a little bit what to do with the cards, because when we bought the book, since I was a child, I've been obsessed with stationery. From the minute I met Alejandra, Christina, your question, to sit across the desk from Alejandra, everything that she had was perfection and gorgeous. Like, she wanted to decorate the bathroom. All that beautiful artwork was everywhere. And so for me, my favorite store in Miami was the Five and Dime store in Sunnyland when I was a child, to buy paper and pens. And so when she gave us the book, she gave all of us the book as a gift. I refused to cut the book. And so she came and she said to me, no, you have to cut the book. You have to cut the cards, because we were so worried. And the children, you have to cut the book, because if you don't, then you can't use the cards. So tell them a little bit about that, because I think that's so important to really be able to play the games, to use them in the back of the book.
May I have another volunteer? Yes. Look, so if you have the book, what I did is I cut it and I bought an envelope and put it there. My dream is that one day we will have a publisher that it's a beautiful book, and the card game comes wrapped in cellophane paper with a string ribbon, right? But so, what is your name? Ceci. How old are you?
I'm 11.
You're 11. All right. So, so the way you saw it, that Sophia volunteered. She can do it again. All right, let's do it again, for instance. That was your question, right?
Right, because for me it was really important to understand that we could cut the cards out of the book.
All right, so you can cut. So what did you get?
I got Mimi.
She got Mimi.
I got stamps.
Stamps.
And a teacup.
And she got pagoda. So another way of doing it is asking the person that has pagoda, stamps, and Mimi. Pagoda. What is a pagoda? Huh? So what you know what my answer would be to the students? Okay, research.
What do you think?
So what do you think?
What do you think?
Or what do you think? So what do you think it's a pagoda?
Historic building.
Yeah, and what country? What is that? China, right? Visually, you can see that. So that's a pagoda. And do you know that there is a pagoda here in Miami? Lori is from here, native. So there is a pagoda, right?
At Ransom School.
Exactly, at Ransom School. And there is a little one at the Kampong.
Well, the Ransom one is not actually, it doesn't look like a pagoda, but it is called the pagoda.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was named by Paul Ransom.
Exactly. So that's what comes in the second. So to write a story. Some people love to write, to sit down and really get the pagoda, and which is a building. It can be big or it can be small. And then you have a stamps and Mimi. Other ones ask me if they can draw, right? So why is it so important to have your own card game? Because you can play on and on all the time, because it's infinite. You can play all day. You can even play with a group of people and say, all right, do you have a story with Mimi, stamps, and pagoda? You do. Go.
Once upon a time, Mimi went to a pagoda in China, and she loved to collect stamps. So one day, she got a stamp, but then she lost it. So she had to go all the way to the U.S., where she didn't know how to speak English, and try to tell everybody, have you seen my stamp of the pagoda in China? So she met lots of friends, but she didn't know how to speak English, so they had to teach her by word to say, hello, have you seen my stamps? So one day, she asked a colorful parrot, and he said, I found your stamp. And she gave her the stamp, and she went back to China, but then the pagoda was ruined, so then she sold her stamp to build a new one, and now everyone remember Mimi as a butterfly who sold her only stamp to build a pagoda.
So then I would say, tell us another story. Because that's when you really, it's like when you start to exercise, tell us another one, but tell us now another one that the character is the tree, is a stamp, or and the more you open that capacity, the more you produce, and the more you. So this is a game also to help those who cannot create stories, because they are forced, this by association again. By association intelligence. The sentence that I love the most is is embrace creativity, but acknowledge different types of intelligence. I think that is fascinating to understand that some people can do that on the spot. Some people can't. Some people cannot talk in front of an audience. So that was marvelous. So that answers your question? Yes? Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for coming. I don't know if there's any other question. If not, I invite you to... you can... you do the ending?
Thank you so much. That was fascinating. I was saying, is your dress designed by? It's very evocative of the colors in the book. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Folks, if you're still watching online, give us a call at the store. We'll get a book signed for you. We'll ship it to you anywhere in the U.S., as I said earlier. I know you all here in the store will want a copy. They're for sale behind the counter right over there. If I could ask you one favor, if you could fold your chairs as you rise, so we create a big area here to meet the author. And that was such a wonderful event. Can we get another round of applause for our author, please? That was great. And thank you all so much for coming. We got some live music coming up. We've got our great restaurant. We've got beer, wine. We've got books. What else could you ask for on a Saturday night? Thank you so much for coming. Certainly.